All right, second attempt at going live. All right, there we go. Never a dull moment. Manny, do you want to listen? Sure. Dude, I'm excited for when we get to do a podcast with those XLs. That little thing.
I was gonna actually bring them today. I have two mics, but.
So can you do 2 mics with 4 people? We should each lean into the mic when we talk.
You should be able to.
You wanna try that for your house? Because I feel like it's gonna happen eventually that we're going to.
No, I just moved the source of the
What is this, 24? Episode 24?
Yeah.
Damn, we like doubled our time like in a month. Oh. They said up like it went down again. Jesse, try not to lean forward when you text, because you do this when you text, and it blocks me.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, everybody can see the screen.
Everyone can see the nudes that you're sending.
Do this.
Who's watching?
No, so I have to watch myself from.
Oh.
From YouTube.
All right. Okay. Man, I'm tired. It's been a long day.
Yeah.
I was rushing when I got home. I was like, shit, I need to make sure the phone is glued down. Eric is annoying me. Eric, if you're watching this, you're being annoying.
Oh, you know what? I should turn my sound down so this way
Probably.
you don't see you don't hear it.
All right, so let's go over the show sheet. So we'll plug the new group, new videos, because you went to the bathroom. We'll give a shout out in the beginning, some new toys. If you guys have anything to add, let me know. When we do the intro, let's do myself, Manny. I didn't have to face for the intro for the pretty long show sheet. Myself, Manny, Jesse, and then Rainer. Just because that's how many shows you guys have all been on. Hulkbuster, Power Pose, Thanos, War Machine. We'll talk about Jazz Inc. His diorama, the X34. Did you guys see the video on that?
I haven't.
Can you guys pull it up real quick just so you can take a look at it? It's just Jazz Inc. on YouTube. I think he put a video. Basically, the craft measurement on the Star Wars websites.
Oh,
You
yeah.
saw it, yeah, okay. Zach, just take a look at it just so you know. But I think it's pretty cool they kept the cost the same. They didn't say, oh, well, now it's 400 or 450.
So it's bigger now.
Yeah, so we'll talk custom corner. We'll talk about, Zach, you're going to talk about your elf in the custom corner. I'm going to talk about Akbar, and then you're going to talk about your elf.
Okay.
Then we'll go into State of Star Wars. We can spend a little bit of time there. Question of the week from last week, question of the week from this week. So
sorry.
That's fine. You can have volume on, that's fine. Do you know what Don's username is on Instagram?
No, but I can get it.
Thanks. I think it's like a Don_Tello.
It's just a Donatello together. Okay, ADANTELLO.
Thank you so much. Or we'll let Zach check out the video and make sure you're ready.
Is this the right video?
That looks like it.
Is it from yesterday or today?
It's from January 20th, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the one.
It says X34 Landspeeder Diorama Kit ready for pre-order.
Final first prototype of the Landspeeder, the X34. We've done our best to include all the details we can. So we did the battle damaging, and if you look inside the cockpits, you can see the actual steering wheel and
No, on the chat.
What does it say?
Hey.
What does it say?
It says you guys rock, but I sent that.
Oh.
from my channel.
basically, you would think we're done.
I'm gonna open this up.
Is it a neti pot? Oh.
If you guys like boxes,
I haven't
ooh.
any potted yet, and I'm almost considering while Zach is watching it. It's like my tradition.
You haven't yet? What do you mean?
No, like today. Like I always do it before we record. I think I might do it. So
Do it live.
if you're watching, no, that's fine. If you're watching, I had told Manny several times that I had issues with my sinuses. I was always going, and if you listen to the old Collecting Weeklies, you can hear it. Oh, you can keep watching it.
Oh, okay.
And I told Manny, he said, you should get a neti pot, which is like a little thing you do with your nose. And I thought he was kidding, but they were like $10. And it's like the best $10 I've ever spent. Like it's, we should be Neti Pot Weekly. That's the title of this episode, Neti Pot.
Just don't do it with fresh water. Your brain will blow out.
Yeah, the lady had a
Look at
great
a amoeba or some shit.
Dude, this looks awesome. Thanks, Zach.
No worries, man.
Hey, you guys, if you guys saw the way Zach opened up that box,
Do it.
for you guys that collect boxes out there,
There's a difference between saying you're about that life and actually being about that life.
yeah.
We gotta get a picture on the episode of our shirts.
Yeah, man. Well, we'll set up the camera right there, and then we'll just stand right there.
Collecting Weekly going live in just a few moments.
We need
We're already live.
Dean is missing.
we need
Zach's gonna blow his brain out or whatever. That's probably not the best term to use.
Right, we're gonna get investigated for murder.
Yeah, man. We definitely need like a banner up there and stuff. You know what? My company, the company I work for makes banners, but I'm not sure if they.
Jesse, time to make a Collecting Weekly banner.
Oh yeah, I gotta see how much they run for.
Oh, dude, I was gonna tell you.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. It's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I should ask.
Not do it.
We need somebody to take video at the wedding.
Ooh, I've never done that before. I'm scared to do that. Dude. I've been asked. I'm like, yo, that's a big memories, man. If I'm like, yeah, the video. Well, the thing is, I didn't charge my batteries, but going home was too far, so I just pretended the whole. Dude, that thing scares me, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. For like a side job, people would always say, "Why don't you do that?" I'm like, that's nerve-wracking, dude. People make good money off of it, but I'm just scared to do that.
Yeah.
Still thinking about doing the lightsabers.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
That's cool. That's clever. I like it. I can't steal it now because I know you. Throw someone off of the internet, I'll steal it.
So, do you guys have like rituals for when we record? Like, do you guys do stuff on that day? I know Jesse was saying he wants to drink beer. Starting off, what about you guys? Nothing?
Well, I'm not quite a regular yet, so I don't really have any established rituals, but I can certainly get some and get back to you.
I have to change my underwear before I come.
Put your knee braces on before they get weak. All right, let's do mic check. Remember, as your regular recording voices, please. Oh, man.
Good.
Oh,
Lord.
Sign on.
Good.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
My check.
Somehow I was the loudest one there.
My check. My check. My check. My check. My check. My check.
Sounds pretty good. So, if you're watching us this week and we sound a little crisper on the actual official audio, I know the laptop is kind of janky. We got some sound foam. We've had a good sponsorship so far, so we were able to buy some new equipment for the studio. Let's got this beautiful articulating arm, which we'll talk about in the podcast. Yeah, Vanna White, there you go.
My God. Why?
I wish, I know, I can't even look at it. I'm looking at it.
Oh no.
Too bad I can't put up links on Instagram.
Dude. You watch? Anybody else here watch The Office?
Yeah, of course, almost every day.
I almost got crucified for saying I've only seen one episode. Remember?
Oh, that's right. Okay. So in April they're gonna have a Office trivia night. So we're gonna go for sure. So if you
Where's it at?
Where?
Pat O'Brien's.
Oh, downtown.
Really? Dude, can we go?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling y'all now.
Oh, okay.
But you have
She
to know
loves-
you have to know.
Dude, she
I
loves The
know
Office.
the Office. How many people are on the team?
So far it's just me, Marissa.
How many people can be on the team?
I don't know.
It's gonna be-
honestly.
It's gonna be that episode of The Office where like Kevin just like it's gonna be
He's
that's
like
gonna
potato.
be me. Yeah, potato. That's gonna be me.
I'll definitely try to make it.
Yeah, see, the only episode of The Office I've seen is the one where Dwight cuts the CPR dummy and wears the
Oh,
face.
yeah.
That's a classic one. I like one of my favorites is Gabe, but I also like that I forget what the one dude's name is.
Dude, I like when he's like coming in with his like birthday cake or whatever. And he's like, happy birthday. And that chick's like, get out of here, skeleton man. And he just like runs away.
Yeah.
Classic, dude.
God, my girl's gonna kill me because she says his name. What's his name?
Creed?
No, Nate. Where he's like, just FYI, I don't have a hearing problem.
Oh, yeah,
I
he's
just,
like-
can't distinguish all the sounds that are
And they're like
coming in.
sitting there
Like, nobody-
shut the fuck
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, dude, go away.
All right. How long have you been on stream for?
We've been on for
You can
12
put your
minutes.
caller, I should tell you.
Oh no, on the phone doesn't say.
Yeah, 12 minutes.
All right, you guys ready to start? How many people got watching? Just 3 or 1? I can't read from here.
It says 1, and it's me.
Oh man, that sucks. Well, we didn't announce anything. My bad. Man,
All right.
I gotta get my energy. I was so rushed when I got off work. I went home. I was like, crap, the kitchen's a mess.
Drink a Zion.
Drink a Red Bull.
I wish I had a Red Bull. That'd be
Dude, I
awesome.
had to have a Monster, and I didn't want to bring it because I was like, "What, Creed?
Met him a couple years ago.
Damn, nice." He's like one of my favorites, dude, because he always says like some fucking funny shit.
Two.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see how many.
Oh, we got 2 people, so you're good.
Hey.
There you go. Hello.
Is it Dean?
Dean?
Dean, are you there?
And if it's Gritus, say something.
Yeah. Let us know if you're watching with us, so we can.
Shut you.
We'll try to bring you in occasionally when we see. When we have a moment.
All right, so hold on. So it's gonna be you, and then Maddie.
Don't say, and I'm.
I'm gonna
Jesse
do it.
and then Rainer. It doesn't. I don't
Don't
care
do
what
it.
Jesse.
I
Don't
have
do
to
it.
do that.
Please don't do it.
Why?
Please.
I did it last week.
Because it's going to be, and I'm Jesse, and I'm Rainer.
All right, you guys.
Wait, so what do you say when you say your name?
I'm Manny.
I'm gonna be like.
Oh, so
the
don't add
illustrator.
and.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Try your best. Not
Okay,
to
dude.
do
6 hours later, we're still talking about the intro. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Everyone's on mute, right?
Yeah.
Mute and volume down.
No,
Mute.
I got
I'm
my-
making
What
sure
up?
my volume.
Hello.
Who's that?
CY. I can't read from
Crisis.
Critus.
Hey,
Yes.
what up, Critus?
That's my buddy.
Critus. Damn good at Xbox. All right, you guys ready?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, hang on.
I'm gonna write it down so I don't mess up.
You're writing down your name?
Yeah.
Oh man. We got a lot of black over here. Oh my gosh. Look at that. It's a lot of black.
I know you should move yours up a little bit. But
Mine?
Yeah, Zach, move yours up over here.
Let's see.
I'm going to be staring at her breast all the time.
dude, yeah, look
Show us an
at
picture of
those
Marissa.
bisons.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
Bison
there's a
large
chick
bus
here with
too.
a big
It's
old
like.
boobies.
That's the one I use for my Amelia Clark because Amelia Clark has some bosoms, yeah. So
She's a beautiful woman.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Wow, she's rocking. Anyways, are you guys ready?
all right.
I would say she has bigger ones than me, but that's it.
No.
All right. Hey guys,
Oh, wait, there's a hair on my Sorry.
Well, that's hair from your house, not from my house.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Hey guys, my name is Zach.
I'm Manny.
I'm Jesse.
The illustrious Reiner.
Ooh, a little pizzazz
I
there.
love that.
Ooh, wow, that was pretty fancy. Welcome to this
I'm
week's
slightly aroused.
Welcome to this week's episode of Collecting Weekly. This is the weekly podcast where my friends and I talk about the things that matter the most to us this week in collecting. I want to thank our friends over at Echo Base Customs for sponsoring tonight's episode. They're great guy. Cody's a great guy. Does some amazing work, clone customs,
Fantastic.
one-to-one horror prop replica repaints.
Mhm.
And he has a special deal for Collecting Weekly listeners. Tune in later on the podcast to find out how you can save some money on an order with him. So really fun week. We've got a ton of views. The bonus episode did really well. We had Damien come on. We had to ghetto rig it, but it worked pretty well. And our last week's episode did really good. We mentioned in the last episode that we have a new Facebook group, Collecting Weekly Auxiliary, and it's growing. It's one of those things, we planted the seed and we're watering it and waiting for it to grow. And if you're a toy photographer, if you like 6-scale, you like Marvel Legends, you like anything, reborn dinosaurs, model kit statues, you want to talk about them with our community, spread your, share your Instagram, anything like that. Check us out. Like I said, it's Collecting Weekly Auxiliary. We'll let you in. And we hope to grow this group each week. And, if it doesn't get too big, that's fine. Sometimes quality members is better than quantity of members. And so that's something we wanted to plug. We also have some new videos on the channel. Jesse, did you want to talk about them?
Yeah, so that was so much fun shooting with you and Dean. So we shot Dean's Echo Base Customs, all his clone troopers. I got to check out his pad. That was super fun.
I like that you shot not only the Echo Base stuff, but the sideshow stuff so that you can see the quality. And
Yeah.
looking at them in the same video, it's like, wow, Echo Base's weathering is a lot better than some of the bare bones sideshow stuff.
Yeah.
Did you guys check out those videos?
Yeah,
I did.
I'm a little sad that we didn't mention somebody that's not here.
Oh,
We
yeah,
didn't-
that's
we didn't,
right.
we didn't
Yeah.
throw him a bone.
Oh, Big Mac Paddywhack. So Dean is not here today. There's obviously a big absence. I have it on the show sheet, but Zach gave such a good ringer.
Turned us
the,
all
the
on.
illustrious. Wow, who's Dean?
Still the show already.
Anyways, Dean's under the weather, so my heart hurts.
Shout out, Dean. Hope you feel better.
Shit on me.
We hope that you feel better. He has a cold.
He's had the cold for like the past year, but
Yeah, that guy gets healthy, sick. It's very a sinusoidal type of deal with him. But we wish him all the best
yes.
in his health endeavors. Dean, if you're listening, take some vitamin C. The powder drinks, good stuff. You also shot my Sebastian Shaw Vader, which is an amazing video. Some of the shots, best stuff I've ever seen.
Thank you,
And
sir. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I genuinely appreciate it.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Just going back to the clone stuff, since I'm not well versed in like the clones and who made who, I was really blown away from like the stuff Cody made. But going to your Vader stuff, that was so much fun because I know Vader and setting up the different shots, and then this thing is like just a grail because everything with the different things that's not stock. So it was just beautiful and like playing around with like different angles. Like I want to get back and shooting at it, some more. So I can't wait to do more custom videos. We have more custom videos in,
Yeah, we shot
the
Akbar
works.
too.
Right, we shot Akbar. So we have more. So go ahead and go to YouTube/Collecting Weekly and then subscribe, and you can see all those videos that we're speaking of and future videos as well.
Definitely. If we sound a little crisper this episode, we, like I said, we've been in a sponsorship with Echo Base Customs. It's helped gain our viewership quite a bit, and we were able to afford some, what is it called, Manny? Audio foam? Sound resorbing foam?
Yeah,
foam?
sound absorbing.
I can't talk.
Yeah.
I can't talk. Sound absorbing foam.
Basically stops some of the echo. So
Shout out to Echo Base Customs.
yeah, there you go.
Literally. And we also got this boom arm, which we mentioned last podcast.
Boom arm?
We can bang on the table all we want, and it won't murder
We can
you.
bang on the table.
Oh, that's gonna be perfect.
Basic
One of my
one.
Furo moods right now.
There you
We're
go.
all rocking our Collecting Weekly shirts. Shout out to Damien. These look amazing. And last
Oh, yeah.
week, shout out to Seth Tucker. He made us all some really nice mugs. I got to get one from Jesse. So Seth, I know you're
Yes,
listening. make me one more, and we'll talk about make some arrangements for the finances. I wanted to get into this first, and we're still in a little bit of channel news. I know it's been about 5 minutes and we're still on channel news, but there was a really cool post that I showed you guys today. This guy had put a post on, I think it was OSR, which is 16 Republic, and he said he wanted to start a toy podcast. He's like, are there any good ones out there? And I messaged him, and I didn't want to steal his thread because, you know, I didn't want to like just start advertising the podcast. And I said, hey, you know, my name is Zach. We have a toy podcast. Here's the link, you know. And the guy was actually like, holy crap. He's like, I've been binging y'all's show all week,
Hell yeah.
and that's why I want to start a podcast. And it was really, I mean, it was just like the coolest thing. And, you know, there's a lot of great podcasts out there. Six Scale Scavengers, Brian and Chris. There's Mint and Sealed Box. I haven't touched too much. I haven't touched base with them too much, but I know they're a good group of guys. They run an amazing channel, Justin's Collectibles, and then King Zachary. Really good stuff. I think there's one more called Hot Toy Cast or Hot Toys Cast. I actually haven't had the chance to listen to that one, to be completely honest, but the point I'm making is the podcasting community is really a great community. We all do this for free. I mention this like almost every podcast, but we all do this for free, and all of our content is maybe an hour a week, 2 hours a week, you know, hour every other week. And there's so much time in the day for people to listen to podcasts. I have about 8 podcasts I listen to, from toys to life to Sword and Scale, which is one that you guys had told me about. And the more the merrier. There can never be too many podcasts in a week. So we wanted to give him a shout out.
I'm actually, I just followed him. I'm showing his page love. I'm liking on his page.
Oh yeah, so Big Ferns Toys,
Shout out,
BIGFERNS Toys. His name is Fernando Olivares Jr. Sorry, I fluffed that one. Really cool guy, and you know, when you get started, man, let me know what your podcast is. I'll give it a listen, and we'll plug it on the show. We just really love to promote.
He has a lot of 1/6 skill figs.
I know he's got some good stuff. I got to go through his page and show it some love. But yeah, show it some love if you're on Instagram, and I know he'd really appreciate it. So Dean's not here today, but we do have new this week, and we didn't do a new this week on the bonus episode because Dean had a big grail to share. So we're going to share Dean's grail next week. But for me, I'll go ahead and kick it off.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, he's got the Terminator. So Rainer was nice enough to
Message me.
pick me up a Captain Marvel, Marvel Legends. Really amazing figure. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. Happy to do it.
I know you heard how much I liked Dean's last a few episodes ago, and
Yeah, I think the term was drooling on the floor.
this is an amazing figure.
Yeah,
Like,
it is pretty
to me, this is potentially. I hate to call it early, but I think this might be 6-inch figure of the year for me. Like this.
Ooh, dude.
Wow,
January.
it's early. It's January, but I don't know. I think
You need one of those flight stands now.
I do need a flight stand here. I need 2 actually for my Stitch also. I also wanted to shout out Eric, our number 1 fan from day one. We always give him crap about not listening to episodes as soon as they come out, but he's a great guy, really great hobbyist. I'm sure you guys have seen him on all the groups, Eric Marskow. And he got me a Shin Godzilla from NECA. Target carries those now since Toys R Us closed, and it's a really nice figure. The design is really neat. I've seen the movie twice. The first time I didn't really pay too much attention to it, but it's a really cool Godzilla. It's got some really cool atomic breath action going in that movie. And to have a $20 representation on the shelf that looks this good, can't beat it. I think I'm definitely a believer in NECA. You know, we talk trash about them every once in a while, but it's a nice figure. It's pretty sturdy, lots of really good paint apps, and it's pretty cool. Manny, did you get anything new this week?
Yeah, dude. Staying on the NECA train, I actually picked up the Terminator, the T800, I believe.
Yep.
I saw it at Target, and I was like, I can't pass this up. It's pretty cool. And then I was at Alien Worlds this past week, and I saw his name is Metal Mash.
Sure.
And his eyes light up in the light, and like this is probably one of the coolest things I've picked up in the past couple of years. Like,
I'm actually really excited to see the toy photography you do with this.
yeah, dude, I'm gonna.
The light piping is excellent on that thing. It looks
Yeah.
so realistic. Because in the movie, their eyes, they glow, but they're not like piercing.
Yeah.
And it's a very subtle effect.
Mhm.
I don't know how they did it. It looks like when you showed me the
Yeah.
picture, I was like, dude, is that battery powered? Because
Yeah.
it legit
No, yeah,
looks.
I had a lot of people-
Legit reflects, right?
Yeah, it reflects from the top almost.
Oh yeah, it's got that little
Yeah.
thing right there. You can shine a light through.
Yeah,
That's
I
very
agree.
cool. Like, if you pick it up and you're just moving around, like That's so dope.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, like it's cool. It's NECA. I'm not the biggest fan of NECA in the world, but that figure is really cool. I think they blew it out of the water.
I've got my new pickup over here.
We'll do a live unboxing at the end of the
Yeah, so I just got a new Sideshow order come in yesterday, actually. And
show. Stay tuned to the end of the show if you want to hear what it is.
yeah, it's going to be a live unboxing. Haven't even cracked open the shipper yet, so.
Oh, nice.
Jesse, did you get anything new this week?
Me this week, nothing new. Sorry,
Nothing new?
nothing
What?
new. Well, it's still in the.
You're lying. I gave you something before the show.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesse,
M'Baku's, what is
totally
it?
Appreciative.
left or right leg?
That's the right leg.
Is it right leg?
Yeah.
You can't.
My leg,
Looks more like
leg.
Left leg.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. That's
M'Baku's left leg. So that counts.
So you're saying there's something in the works? though?
There's something. It's I don't know where it's at, but it's still being shipped. So
What is it?
I don't.
Is it a hint?
No hint. I don't want to.
Is it 1-to-1 or 1?
probably a Vader.
Ooh. Oh.
I'm not
No,
saying
we're
that.
not
So
gonna
tune in.
confirm
Tune in.
Nor deny.
Yes.
I know I wanted you to stick around after the podcast, Jesse, to talk
Yes.
to you. But I think since we're live, we got like 3 people listening.
Yeah.
So I think we have some comments there. But Jesse, I wanted to give you this V for Vendetta.
Get out of here.
I'm being dead serious. You've been really busting your ass on the comments. So,
Oh my God, sir! I'm gonna have to shake your hand. Get out of here! Are you kidding me?
yeah, I know you're a big DC fan.
Oh,
I had a
yeah.
few people offer to buy it, they flaked, and I was tired of it. And I feel like once a figure is cursed like that, it's just better just to give it to them.
Cursed.
And
Dude.
so congratulations to Jesse. I'll give you the box later.
Oh my God. Okay, so that's new this week.
Yeah, this is totally a live
This just
first
in.
take. Yeah.
Dude. Okay. Wow. I'm glad you guys get to see that. Dude. That's
There's-
amazing.
Oh, there was 3 people.
They're like, oh, it wasn't a
They're
good
like-
figure. He didn't give him the Vader.
They're like, oh.
Yeah. So
They were mad because they were like, I wanted it.
yeah,
And they're like,
before
you got
we
it.
get into toys, big news: Black Panther was nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture.
Okay.
I want to talk about it. Now, I've seen some people criticizing this decision, and I see a lot of people calling people out and saying, "Oh, it's because you hate black people." So to preface what I'm about to say, my wife is black, my daughter's half black, so I don't hate black people. I love black people, and I have to say this wasn't even the second best hero movie this year. I think it's probably not even the third best. I'm shocked that Infinity War wasn't the hero movie that was nominated. The CGI in this movie is pretty bad. And by the way, I love Chadwick Boseman. I love Michael B. Jordan. Amazing actors. I love Andy Serkis. Amazing actor.
Mhm.
You had it all there, but I feel like the effects really let this movie down. The story was okay.
Yeah.
I think Lupita Nyong'o was in the movie as well. And I'll be honest, with so many good superhero movies, I was shocked that this movie was nominated because it's up against some, dare I say, quote unquote, good movies. And Oscar movie goodness is different than, like a
Blockbuster
fun movie, like a Marvel movie.
Mhm.
And it's up against some really, really strong competition for movie of the year. And if it wins, I will be shocked.
You'll eat your sock.
Yeah, I know. I think the Oscars added a category this year for like the most fun movie, and I could see a hero movie being nominated in this category. But
Mhm.
for Black Panther right off the bat to be nominated for Picture of the Year,
There's just not enough of the film there for it to
it's
get
not
that.
exactly. It's a fun movie. It's just not a good film. And I think, look, I don't know. I know I was shocked that it was nominated for so many Golden Globes. I don't know if it actually won the big Golden Globe. I don't think it did, but I'm genuinely surprised to see that there. You guys have anything to say about it? Anything to add?
I love Black Panther. I didn't like the rhinos, how they looked, but I personally love it. I don't think it's film of the year for 2018, but I did very much enjoy it. But yeah.
Do you think it was the best hero movie this year?
No.
I mean, for me, Spider-Verse.
Oh,
And I know Spider-Verse was nominated in the animated category, and I don't know how the rules work where if an animated film can be nominated for the live action, the Picture of the Year. But to me, it goes Spider-Verse, Infinity War, and maybe, like I heard a lot of people say like Ant-Man 2. You know what I mean?
Ant-Man and the Wasp is okay.
Ant-Man and the
I think
Wasp.
Infinity War would take the crown.
Yeah, I like Black Panther. I mean, I've already invested a lot of money in like 2 Hot Toy figures from the movie and then one of
Which
Wall
ones did you
Props. So I got
Killmonger?
Killmonger, Black Panther.
Dude, can you have it on the
Oh.
show?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man,
whenever
dude,
whenever it
yes.
ships. I think they're already charging payments.
I'm about to blow y'all's mind with the pre-order.
Oh, here you go.
But wait, no,
but,
we
We'll
got
talk
Yeah.
about it in a little bit.
but yeah, so that I like the movie obviously, but for film like that, no way. Because like you said, it's not even top 3 like
Yeah.
hero movie.
Yeah,
So
I see where you are coming from, but I'll never forget when Infinity War, when Iron Man gets pierced, like the amount of air that I gasped, like
Dude, audibly, I was like, oh shit.
oh my god,
Oh.
that's it, he's dead, and then
Yeah.
yeah.
Such a good film.
So if I can weigh in here, I have to agree with pretty much everything everyone said here. My only thing that I think kept Black Panther back a little bit was the fact that they really relied too heavily on its theme to really sell tickets. And I know several people, that just wouldn't go to see it because they just don't want to get bombarded by that,
What do you mean?
Like, it's really hard to say this without sounding racist. but-
You're sounding pretty racist, right?
I do know several people that did not see it because it was just going to be too much of the whole Wakanda Forever type thing, and it was
Yeah, I mean, I went to the
and that
theater.
could be a reason why it's up there because of like the whole movement. So,
exactly, but there's not enough of the film there for the critics to really
right. And I agree.
latch onto.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, this was a shocker. If it wins, I would be shocked, but I don't think it's going to win.
No,
But,
no way.
even just being nominated, it's a good thing because I mean, I think some of these movies for heroes are really good. Like Into the Spider-Verse, legit
That one
blew
was
my
amazing.
mind.
That one was amazing.
Infinity War also, and I don't know. I just feel like this isn't the one to be that first movie to, Civil War, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Enough about that. Big old love test you there. For my Vader, 10 DMFG on Instagram, he's been helping me with the Sebastian Shaw 3D print. I got the first picture of that print today. It looks really good. He's going to, because when you put it in the collar, sometimes you do have to modify the sculpt a little bit. So he's making me a mold so I can cast another one if I screw it up. And even if it ends up being a smidgen too big, having a casted version will be ever so slightly smaller because of the molding process.
Right.
And so, really great guy. It was a free file that was on the internet, and so he didn't charge me, quote unquote, to make a profit. He just charged me what the machine rental would cost, which was very reasonable. I've seen a lot of these 1/6 scale third-party commission sculpts, and they start at like 100, and they go up to as much as 200 in some cases,
Right.
depending on the sculptor. So very reasonable the price, and the price with the mold was very reasonable. I'm not going to be selling them. I think it's just for private use for myself. So please don't ask. I think it'd be inappropriate because the file is free to sell it. But I'm really excited. Hopefully we'll have some updates on the YouTube and Instagram when I get it and start painting it. But let's get into some other figure news, some actual retail releases.
Hang on, we got another viewer.
Hey.
There's only 2 people commenting. Well, actually 1 person, so we need the other people to comment on there so we can give you a shout
Make
out.
your voice
Yeah,
heard.
so let's take a look. We'll ignore the comments here for a little bit. Hulkbuster Power Pose. A lot of people have gotten emails that show a February to March 2019 release. The figure was featured heavily in JC Hong's behind the scenes video.
Mhm.
It looks really solid. I think for me it'd be an instant pickup if Tony Stark actually used it. The price is very reasonable. The size is huge. And now that I've had some vinyl statues with X Plus, the Godzilla and the King Kong, I can totally get behind the idea of a vinyl non-polystone statue. A lot of people criticize this because it's a power pose, but frankly, when I look at people who have the Hulkbuster, that thing is even worse than a power pose because the pose it's in isn't that cool. I think I've seen 2 people ever attempt an actual legit pose with that figure, and they were saying that long term the wear on the joints might make it such that it's better to keep it in a more museum pose. Not only that, but it's a massive figure, and being able to pose that or having it tumble in a cabinet.
How tall is it, Dina?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. It's huge. I mean, that character
It's
it can
massive.
fit.
I think it's one of the biggest things Hot Toys have made.
Yeah. You're gonna pull it up, Manny. We'll get back
Yeah.
to that one.
Yeah.
And it just looks really solid. I mean, the fact that I think it got pushed up just a little bit to February to March 2019, I could definitely see this coming to the States around that time. And, I know it wasn't the suit that everyone thought it would be in terms of like either the Hulk busting out of it or
Like
Tony
that
Stark
Funko
going
Pop.
into it. Yeah, like the toy showed.
Yeah.
But man, for a display piece, it looks incredible.
It commands that.
Yeah, it has a
space.
good shelf presence. Get a nice shelf and put some lighting in there. I think it'd make a really good display, especially if you had a Bruce Banner.
Mhm.
Hot Toys has released one or a custom one. Man, that's going to be a nice piece. And I think it has an AC power in the leg where you can plug it in to light up the arc reactors.
Nice.
Do you have a
like
height
that.
on that one, Manny?
I don't know if this is the power pose, but
Yeah, there's only one.
oh,
The
okay.
whole cluster.
19.68 inches.
It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit taller than Thanos, but it's a very bulky statue because of the pose that it's in.
Yeah, I think
He's like
Thanos
he's
is
doing one of these.
I think Thanos
It's like
is 16.
Yeah, so it's a little bit bigger than Thanos. And speaking of the
Yes.
Titan,
Yes.
Manny, you want to take it
I
away?
finally pre-ordered him. Just because, what's his name? JC Hung, right? On Instagram, he teased a picture of the
The
mad,
angry face.
Yeah. and he says, I don't know, something along the lines of he's coming soon or something. So I was like, people might start jumping ship, jumping on it, and it's gonna sell out. I think it's gonna sell out pretty soon.
You mean waitlist?
I thought it
Yeah,
was
it's gonna be
already
waitlisted.
waitlisted.
No,
I saw it.
No, Manny was joking in the chat.
I was
He sent
joking.
us a-
Oh, that was
I
Photoshop?
was trying to push.
Dude, because I was like, oh, I don't want to break the news to my lady that she's already been waitlisted,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you got me on that one, man.
Yeah, no, it might be still available. I don't know. You might want to check, but
Did you use
You
reward?
hear that, baby?
I actually went. I put all my cards in. I used all my rewards. I used my gift cards that I got for Christmas, and I got them for a really, really sweet price.
Oh,
Would
dude,
you mind telling us what your out of pocket was on that one?
Out of pocket, $240.
Dude,
Wow.
nice. That's
Killing
a
it.
crazy.
Dude,
good
I'm
price.
so excited, dude.
That is a crazy.
So I have,
did you put it
uh,
on a payment plan or you just?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I have 2 payments, but I might just pay it off.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Pro
have
tip:
him.
once you're ready to pay it off, change your order to a full pay instead of the payment plan,
Uh-huh.
and that way it processes the second it hits the distribution. I didn't know that, but shout out to John
Okay.
Marcino from Tachi
Yeah,
Station.
yeah.
He put up a post on that, and that's how I got my Emperor like the day it hit.
Wow.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Sideshow.
Dude.
Really cool tip.
Awesome.
So Hot Toys announced the comic style War Machine, which is Punisher War Machine. And I got a mouthful to say about this one. I've seen a lot of people praising the price, but
Wait, that's the price on it?
yes. Let me just double check because your reaction was kind of serious. But for me,
diecast?
for
Yeah, it's
diecast,
diecast.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
I guess for me, it's like when you look at these prices and you become complacent with what they are, I really think you're doing a disservice to collectors. I think we have to be vocal about these kinds of things, and the price is just ridiculous. For the Punisher War Machine, of course, you get some effects, and of course, you get some guns, and you get some die cast. But for $392, they don't even give you a diorama. Sure, you get a head sculpt, but no diorama base for $392.
Yeah.
Beautiful figure, don't get me wrong. This is obviously a figure that's going to take some new tooling and the like, but Thanos, how much is Thanos? I think it's like $362
Yeah.
for a significantly bigger figure. I don't like this price. I think $392 is a lot. I can't even wrap my head around how people think that's an okay price. Civil War, Iron Man, I think it was like $360. It came with the really beautiful diorama.
Dude, Infinity War Iron
And the
Man
head sculpt, too.
is like 400 too.
Yeah,
What's going
and
on?
I don't agree with that, but that figure does have some stuff. I think the Mark 7 diecast is another one of those that's up there, but that figure, I can totally get behind that
Yeah.
because it literally like transforms. Like it's a transforming figure with like parts forming. It has battle damage parts, more than I think I've ever seen on any figure. So many different weapon options. It's $433. So for 30 more bucks, you're getting probably like 20 interchangeable parts. Granted, a reused diorama base. It's the Terminator T800 battle damage base. So many different effect parts. You get a special edition, which is like a little blue hologram of the transforming piece. I don't get it. You also get the head sculpt inside the helmet and lots of LEDs. It's just a bad price. It's a 2020 release figure, but I hope that this figure doesn't sell well so that Hot Toys maybe reconsiders their prices because that's a lot.
Do you think there's a chance the price might come down?
No, it won't. It won't.
Mm-mm.
No, some people are saying it might be because tariffs that are coming in and some trade war stuff with China, but That's a lot. And Budget Stark put up the price in the direct conversion from Hong Kong to US dollars. I think if I remember correctly, it was $310 US was the conversion price. So $80 for Sideshow's Pocket Plus, whatever they buy it wholesale for. I just don't like it. It's really expensive, and frankly, it is just
highway robbery.
yeah.
can't speak
But on the
for a
opposite
second.
side of that spectrum of pre-orders that get happens to me all the time, $350 gets you an absolute amazing deal from Jazz Inc. Dioramas. They are working on Luke's X34 land speeder, and they put up a video the other day. I think it was yesterday. It's Tuesday. Maybe it was Sunday. And the video started out pretty great. There was different shots of the X34, and then there was some. I think there was some dialogue from the films. And as the video was going, Yost started to mention that showed the land speeder alongside Luke, and it became very clear that it was a little small. And I have to give a lot of props here because for a small company, when you have a pre-order going and you have R&D, they use all the best references, and you come to a finished prototype that is too small. You have two options. You can raise the price and say, hey, this is going to require 15% more material, 15% more weathering, 15% more shipping costs, 15% more packaging costs. Or you can, there's three options. You can just say, hey, we're making it at the size we made it, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can say, hey, this isn't good enough. We're going to make it the right size, and we're going to keep the price at $350. Granted, the conversion rate may change. And I have to really respect that decision because for a small business, like you mentioned, there's not a lot of profit. It mostly just goes back into the business. And I really have to respect that. That is really neat that they kept the price at $350, even though it's going to be something that potentially could cost them cut into their bottom line. And so we really like that Collecting Weekly. So if you're interested in an X34 land speeder, check them out on the internet. It's Jazz, Jazz, Inc. Dioramas.com. If you're in A New Hope, this is like one of the coolest things I've seen for A New Hope. And show them some love. Even if you won't buy it, just send them a nice message because for a small business, like that's pretty huge.
Yeah, just him and his pops, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, what C-3PO was that he used for his pictures?
It might be the Tamaji. Is it the real bright color one? It's a Tamaji Nations.
That's a nice little figure.
Yeah, it's really nice, and you can find them. I find that when they sell in the secondary market, for whatever reason, they sell fairly cheap. And I remember, I think Seth found one for like $280, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow!
So not that much more than the Sideshow one.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. We've had some Avengers in-game toy leaks. This won't be super spoilerish, but Manny, I know you were showing me them.
Oh yeah, they look
The
silly.
white suit figures for.
I think it's called like the Hero series or something.
Yeah, the Hero series. They're in the white suit, and there's like a Thor and
Hulk's in one, right?
Yeah,
Something like
Thor, Hulk. I know Hulk and Thanos. The 3/4 inch figures, I believe.
Yeah.
They.
Oh, yeah.
No. It's actually, I think it's like 4 inches. Or so. It's a little bit bigger, but they all Hulk
Size
with
matters.
the armor. Hulk in the armor, yeah, and Thanos with the armor. They leak
Yeah.
also, so it seems like little things here and there are leaking.
Yeah.
Like my pants right now. I need to stand up real quick. My watch is
Right.
telling me to.
So Vader fan film update. I'm sure Rainer will have something to say about this one, but Warner Chappell was basically told by Lucasfilm to cut the shit and stop harassing Star Wars Theory. Really great to see. I know we talked about it in the last regular episode that they had just filed the content strike against his channel, and really great to see that they stepped in and said this is not okay. Huge win for the fans. It shows that we're not going to stand for this kind of shenanigans. Zach, do you have anything to say about it, Rainer?
Yeah, I do. It is one of those things that, they deserve our respect. They deserve our praise for coming to this decision and making it right. It doesn't erase the past. And we'll get a little bit more into that later in the podcast when I begin my little bit. But I do believe that this is a step in the right direction. Battle's not over, it's far from over, but I think it's a step in the right direction. And if they're willing to, do this small thing to make it right, because really it's just pennies to them. I mean, really,
Yeah.
he was
$80,000 is nothing to Lucasfilm or
it's just
Disney.
pennies to them. And so really to make this right and do good by the fans, it shows some goodwill, and I hope that they continue this trend.
Yeah, because Lucasfilm historically has been a company that really promoted the fan-made stuff. they would have contests and they'd share it. And so I think, like you said, it's a step in the right. It's not that Lucasfilm and Disney are like the best thing ever again, but it's
Well, and especially after all the hoops they made him jump through, like he couldn't crowdfund, he couldn't, he had to basically pay for the whole thing himself, and then to take it and monetize it, that's just, to quote the Joker, that's cold even to a guy like me.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a good step. Hopefully we'll see episode 2 soon. We're gonna plug the hell out of it because I think, even if there's small things here and there that we don't like, I think overall it's a really good step for the fan base to have something like this. Jesse, go and take it away.
So for DC report, I mean, we have Heath Ledger's anniversary of his passing, and man, I find myself going back to those movies like I would say every other week, just putting it on because that's one of our go-tos. Man, I miss that dude. I always think about what could have been and how great a trilogy could have been.
Yeah.
You think he would have been in Dark Knight Rises?
Big time. Oh,
It was supposed to be the character that was played by the Scarecrow, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But man, so
It's been a long time.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard to realize. Like, man, it's what 10 years?
At least 11 years.
Yeah, I
11 years?
found myself the other night watching a video about the type of manipulation that Heath Ledger's Joker employed. I forget what they called it. It began with an A. I forget what it was called, but it was some kind of manipulation that creates doubt, and then he can exploit that doubt to basically make you do whatever he wants. It's really interesting. And the Joker was absolute. Heath Ledger's Joker was absolute. It was brilliantly played.
Yeah, you always see theories about it where it's like maybe he was a soldier with PSD.
PTSD, yeah.
So it's always cool to see like theories of that, and I don't know. So I mean, just rest in peace, my dude.
Yeah, it's pretty.
But on Sunday,
Saturday.
was it? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
remember
right.
he came over
Saturday.
Saturday.
It was Saturday. It didn't feel that long ago.
Yeah.
It felt like almost yesterday.
So Jesse and I got together. We filmed our bonus episode. We filmed a lot of content for the channel. We pretty much hung out from like 12 to like 10.
Yeah, it was all day.
a nice
We were broing out. It was cool.
Yeah, it was cool. And what happened, Jesse?
So you hadn't seen Wonder Woman, and I was kind of not shocked, but I was like, shocked.
I own the movie. I own like 100 plus digital movies.
Yeah.
I've watched like 70 of them. There's about 30 movies I still need to get to, and I still need to watch
I
Halloween.
know.
I'm gonna watch
Halloween.
I'm gonna watch
RoboCop.
Halloween I'm gonna watch both. I'm gonna make you a promise right now, right here.
I can't take it.
I'm gonna
Seal the pact
just
with
remind me.
blood.
I'm gonna watch Halloween and RoboCop.
Dude,
this week.
RoboCop is so
Yeah.
good.
It really is.
I know I mentioned just a second ago about next week because next week we played on the podcast. It was gonna be the Far From Home episode today, but some situations came up. But next week we're gonna be taking the show on the road to DJ Manny's house.
Yes.
I'll be far from home for the first time in a long time,
Stupid
and
kid.
hopefully for the last time, right?
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, Jesse. Back to your
No.
point. So we watched Wonder Woman, and
So we saw up to a certain point because it was getting late. I had to see my lady. But you finished it off. So what
me
were your
and
thoughts?
Dean, because Dean came over and
That's
we
right.
finished it off. I really liked it, and I will say the CGI at the end was pretty bad.
Yeah, that's everyone's.
I didn't really get the whole, even when you were there, the first scene when they were doing all that flipping and shit, and that lady got shot in the beginning, and I was like, well, if she wasn't doing all that flipping, she probably would have lived. She like jumped off this cliff backwards, and then like I was like, if you just jumped regularly, you probably would have lived. But you had mentioned to me that there was a scene that was so powerful for you that you almost started crying. And I had the exact reaction, that scene where she first enters the battle and the machine guns are shooting her and
No
she's
Man's
using her
Land.
shield.
Oh yeah.
And damn,
It gives you goosebumps.
to me,
Like, I get
that
goosebumps.
is probably, I will say, top 3 hero movie moments for me. Spider-Verse, I think, is still a little new. I haven't had a chance to really digest it. But I saw that scene. I legit watched that scene 6 times. I saw it with Dean. I saw my wife, and I watched it like it's so good.
You let it all out when
I have
they were done?
I have to say, the
He even
Infinity.
got naked on his couch and he was just chilling with his
Right,
legs
no
up.
one was there. Infinity War with all the dusting at the end, amazing. But Spider-Man died, that got me.
Oh, that was
Good.
such a powerful scene.
Or quote unquote died because apparently Far From Home. The Civil War, when Tony Stark was like bleeding, he's like, my father made that shield, amazing. Wonder Woman, shield entering the battle, top 3 hero movies. It was such a good movie. You've seen it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Rainer, you've seen it. God, I hate myself for taking so long to watch it, but man, that was a good one.
It's more empowering and inspiring to see
in-
her just like
in the
stand
frame
up for
of
someone.
reference.
And she's hot.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
In the frame of reference of DC, that's the greatest. Maybe not like the Ledger Joker stuff, but like in terms of the current
DCU.
quote unquote, the current, because I don't think it's a thing anymore, but of the DCEU, to me, that one scene, like, and then when she goes into the village, is my absolute favorite scene of the entire DCEU.
Real quick before we move on, you said that you hate yourself, or you said something along those lines. Why you waited like so long to watch the movie?
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna blow y'all's mind with something right now. Y'all ready?
Yes.
For the very first time last Friday, I think it was my first time ever watching Back to the Future. I had never seen it.
It's so good. Have you seen the third one? Because I saw
I
you.
haven't seen the third one.
Okay, so
You're
okay,
I'm
hang on,
trying
hang
to-
on.
I'm trying to process
Let's
this
calm
right
down.
now.
Let's calm down, gentlemen. Okay, so let's get the Picks by Manny score of the first one and the second one.
Okay, the first one,
Back to the
of course,
Future.
Back to the Future is 10 out of 10.
Easily one. Of
Easily.
the
I
best films.
loved it. I don't know why I never.
So it's funny that you mentioned that 2 years ago I saw the first one for the first time, and I was like, "That's so good." And the second one's on Netflix, so we watched it right afterwards. And you know me, I can't sit through anything. 6 hours in, or 4 hours in, 5 hours in, I was like, "Hey, the third one's on Netflix." My wife
Is
and
it
I,
still on Netflix?
no, I don't know, it was a long time
Oh,
ago. But
no,
my wife and I
no,
watched
I was about to
all
say.
three back to back to back. And we went out, and then we bought the little game for the Xbox. I don't know what it's called. Dimensions. There you go. We
Mhm.
bought the Lego Back to the Future stuff, and man, you're gonna love the third one. They're all really good. I don't know. I don't have an opinion if like 1 is the best or 2 is the best, but 1 and 2 are really good. 3 is pretty good. But as a trilogy, to me,
Yeah.
the trilogy is so good that it's like Star Wars level good. Like
Yeah.
it is one
Those
of those
are my
trilogies that
favorite
is,
movies.
it's almost
man.
like a Terminator 1, Terminator 2 type deal where as a work of art,
Yeah.
they're amazing. But I'm sorry, what was your scores for the second one?
So for the second one is 8 out of 10. I really did like it, but I mean, you can't compare it to the first one. The first one is just a work of art. I watched the second one on Saturday, and it ended with a cliffhanger. And for some reason,
Someone remind me what the cliffhanger is. It's been a while.
apparently he got trapped.
I forget because
In the past or
Yeah, and like
okay.
with I was gonna say Rick because Rick and Morty, but what's his name? What's the main character?
Doc.
Yeah,
Doc
Doc Brown. So he's like,
Marty
wait,
and Doc.
what? And he just like faints.
Yeah.
And then the movie ends, and then it says coming next summer, and I haven't found it.
So I own
It's a
all
great
3.
movie.
I own all 3, and those have been my favorite movies since I was like a little kid. And those are our go-to movies whenever we go to bed. To bed. To bread. I'm hungry. I'm thinking about that pizza that's back there.
You guys should have some when we're done.
So I rated 1, 3, and 2. So we watched 1, 3, and 2.
And 3's like a western, right?
It's a
Yeah, it's a
Western,
Western.
dude. It's really good.
I have
What were
to
you
watch
saying,
it.
Ray?
I'm gonna watch it tomorrow.
So, as long as we're making confessions, Critus, if you're still in the chat, you'll laugh about this. So, my buddy Critus came to visit me a year ago when I was recovering from an accident, and I had never seen The Matrix.
What?
Never.
Wait, to this point?
No.
Oh, okay, I was
No,
like,
this was like
we need
this was
to
like
change
8 months
We're gonna
ago.
cut the podcast off. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to you guys next Tuesday.
But no. I had never seen The Matrix till he came into town, and he actually made it a point of holding a gun to my head and saying, "I'm gonna make you watch The Matrix."
Yeah, yeah, it's such a good film. When he enters that lobby and the guy's like, "Do you have any metal objects?" Or I don't remember what exactly he says, but
Yeah.
he pulls open the vest.
It's been a while since I've seen it, but
Yeah, it's been a while, but man, Hot Toys Neo is tempting.
I had never seen it.
But I've already eaten the John Wick, so like I don't know if I need it.
Yeah.
Gosh,
dang.
well,
Where were we?
confessions.
talk
I
about-
have- I still haven't seen
Right.
Liars.
That's a new statement.
Okay, so Jesse, did you confess to anything you haven't seen yet?
Haven't. I mean, I always confess like I haven't seen like
We got Raven
Harry.
snorting over
Hang on, hang
here.
on.
No, I haven't seen Harry Potter or the
What?
or the Lord of the Rings.
Let me
ones.
stab you.
Wait, Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Bro, you gotta come over.
I haven't seen Lord of the Rings.
I haven't.
I
but
haven't. Harry Potter is my religion,
those are the
What
two.
house are you?
though. Hufflepuff.
Ooh,
Pottermore.
Ravenclaw from the Sporting Hat website. What about you?
I'm not on the Harry Potter thing, but I do have the extended box sets of all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies. If you ever want to borrow them,
Ah, okay, cool.
Yeah, I got
extended
Yeah,
edition.
you can borrow
So.
them.
This to digital. Here we go.
Oh
I'll
yes.
take a picture of the barcode.
So
I hope Luda's not listening. They'll block my account.
right.
Okay, go ahead.
Custom Corner update, my weekly segment where I talk about the customs that I'm working on. On the table, if you're watching live, you can see I have an Admiral Akbar figure right here. And he's a pretty cool figure. It's a Kenner 13-inch Akbar that Dean actually gave me for my I don't know if it was this year. It was this year. For my 26th birthday, we went out to eat, and Rainer joined us, and Dean joined us.
I wasn't invited.
Manny ditched us, actually.
I
He was
didn't
invited.
think, I'm sorry.
And so it's that. And so what I did was at the arm, I cut the joints at the arm, and on the toy body that's originally on, there's a nice little swivel there. So you just cut it with a Dremel. And I took the head and I pulled it off. I drilled out the eyes, which sounds pretty terrible, and then I replaced them with teddy bear eyes.
Painful.
Teddy bears, and they look amazing. And
Teddy bear? You said it?
yeah, teddy bear. And what I did was I took the hands and the head, and I masked the eyes. I don't know why I didn't pick them first, but I masked the eyes, and I airbrushed it with Vallejo saddle brown, and then Vallejo chipping brown for the dark brown, and then just a tiny highlight of the saddle brown.
Did you say Doc Brown? I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And it looks really great. And then what I did was I used, it's really janky how it is, but I just used tape, masking tape. I'm sorry, duct tape to attach the arms to a Sideshow Boba Fett body.
If you
Which,
touch it, it's going to fall apart.
Potentially.
I'm just kidding.
I took the Sideshow Boba Fett and cut it at the same point. They were actually swiveled at almost exactly the same point. And so the length was perfect on the arms. And then I took a Sideshow Jedi Luke, the original first ever 6-scale Star Wars figure, took the boots, spray painted them white, and I put all that on a, like I said, the Boba Fett body, and it looks really solid. It's
Thanks.
easily one of the easiest customs that I've done. It took me maybe 20 minutes.
Oh, wow.
The painting was airbrushed, took like 10 seconds. And it's really good. I can't think of anything more that I'd do to it. Maybe the outfit might look a little bad, but when you consider that it's a 20-plus-year-old outfit,
Yeah.
or almost 20-year-old outfit, it's really solid. And frankly, it looks pretty good standing next to my Jedi Luke on my Return of the Jedi shelf. So no complaints here.
It looks crispy. I like it, and if it's on a shelf, I mean, as long as no one should be touching your collection, it works great.
Yeah.
So we filmed a video of it too.
Yeah,
They're coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, I got to do a voiceover, and we should have it maybe by next episode. Next Tuesday we'll have the
Absolutely.
the video up. Rainer has been working on a figure here. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, so I got this inspiration. I was watching YouTube for 1/6 stuff, and Denobi 2, shout out. I was watching his video where he took his old Targaryen outfit and made a wood elf, and I thought, well, I can do that. I have a Bison body lying around, so I went on eBay, got myself the elf head, and took a Bison large bust body, and an old Barbie, I'm drawing a blank on her name, Galadriel, anniversary dress, and yeah, here it is. It's a simple custom. It'll probably take you like not even $100.
The dress looks really good.
Yeah, for a Barbie dress, it was actually really good.
Yeah, I like it. Can we see it without the dress? No.
Maybe later.
No,
Maybe
Not working.
it looks really clean, man. I like it.
I mean, the head sculpt run you $30, body will run you about 60, and the dress will run you whatever much you want to pay for it. I mean, it's really up to you.
And you had wanted to use a Daenerys Targaryen.
I was trying to get a Daenerys Targaryen thing to try to mimic the exact custom that he did, and it just didn't work out. I couldn't find any laying around. I didn't want to buy just a figure for that. So.
I was gonna say, buy the figure and I'll pay for the head sculpt. I need that head. I
That's
want to
gonna be
finish
out
my
like
Terminator
$100.
custom.
It's like $150 figure.
Yeah.
So, but
Danny,
yeah.
you also have some custom stuff that we're working on.
Do I?
Yeah, start later. I got some.
Oh, yeah.
It's a chess box, the belt box
Yes.
that I weathered for you, the Hot Toys.
Yes.
And it's funny because Manny, I had these in my parts box.
Yeah, are we gonna talk about the psycho? Psychic?
Yeah,
The psycho,
yeah,
sorry.
we'll get there in a
I
second.
can't wait.
But it's funny because that belt box, I had them in my parts box. I took them out and I was like, man, Hot Toys really did a good job with the weathering. And I was like, wait a second. I distinctly remember them not being weathered. And then I went through all the pictures on my phone. And I was like, oh, I weathered them. I did so good.
Yeah,
And,
good.
yeah, so we'll mess with those tonight, and hopefully it makes your Vader look a little bit more accurate to A New Hope. I know there's some helmet stuff I'll need to do, and some
Chest piece,
shoulder armor piece that I'll need to do, and those I don't want to rush. You can't really rush that type of project.
Yeah.
But it's a first step in the right direction for your custom Vader. But I am on fire. I am psychic.
You are psychic, and it's freaky. I think I peed my pants. My knees got weak and everything because I was like, "How did he know? Is he here listening?"
So Manny texts me and says, "Yo."
Oh, wait. Let me
pull up
read
the exact thread.
Let me read the message exactly. Hang on.
So while Manny's pulling that up, here in a second, Zach's gonna get Rainer. I keep calling you Zach. I'm just gonna call you Zach. They know my voice.
It's fine.
Zach is going to get into his discussion on the state of Star Wars, and it's gonna be a roundtable discussion.
Of
But
course.
let's keep it civil amongst us. I know we all get pretty heated about Star Wars.
Before we get to that, I have the
Before we get to that, let's hear what my second.
Okay, so Sunday at 5:54 p.m.,
Uh-huh.
I text Zach. So I may have messed up big time, FML. And he put a question mark. Did you break Vader's belt? How did you know?
So that part is a huge complaint for a lot of people because I don't know if you've ever used this function, but that Vader, in theory, to use it to its full potential, you have to undress the entire figure to activate the switch on the body to use the remote.
Yeah.
In doing so,
I've never used that.
don't ever do it. It's not even worth your time. In doing so, to do that, you more often than not have to take the belt off. And more often than not, from one or two removals of the belt, that little peg will snap. It's a terrible design.
Yeah.
And what I told you, and I'm not sure if you'll go for it, we got to talk about it, but I like to super glue that belt close in the front because it's always going to fail. You can't, and frankly, even when it's at the proper position, it's not tight enough to really get that nice pleating going. I like to glue it in the front. You line it up, you glue it, and then on the back, take some scissors to the belt, and then just use a tiny strip of Velcro so that anytime you want, you can undo it. You don't have to worry about it. You'll never see it because it's going to be behind the cape.
Yeah.
And it's Velcro, so it's not going to stick out any. It's not like, it's not any sort of piece that's going to.
Jesse's over here playing with dolls.
To distract from the posing. He's fighting Terminator versus Shin Godzilla.
We all know who's going to win, though.
And Shin Godzilla.
Terminator.
I was gonna say
Okay.
Terminator.
Wait, before we get into this, you've been on Terminator binge.
Oh, yes. So
Oh my gosh, so you've been on a binging on the 80s movies.
Yeah. So I
Wait, what year were you born, man?
I was born in 92.
Oh, okay.
I had seen Terminator when I was younger, but it wasn't in
I guess I'm one of the oldest in the group.
What year were you born?
I'm 89. I'm a Reagan baby.
Are you? What year?
92.
Wait, what
Dang.
89 is what? 28?
29.
Dean's 30. So he's
Oh.
all this.
So, he's the oldest.
Yeah,
so-
but he's still sick.
Good.
Honored elder.
Good. Yeah.
So I had seen them. I had seen the movies, but I don't remember them. I'm not into film as much as I am now. So I was like, let me revisit them. Terminator 1 was okay. Terminator 1 was okay. I think I gave it an 8 out of 10. Rate the flicks.
I think the thing that hung up on you was the special effects.
Yeah, I mean I know it was 80.
They
What
were
was it? 84,
groundbreaking
86.
effects at the time.
It was like 1986 or whatever, and it looked okay. I'm not okay. I could tell this is fake, but it's a movie. Obviously, everything's fake.
Obviously, there's not real robots in the
Obviously.
future.
Well, actually, this is when I tell you. No, I just ain't on my face. No, and then I saw Terminator 2, and that blew my mind.
Dude,
When
that's the
Bad to the Bone
strongest.
comes out, when he gets out of the bar, my knees again. My knees. I had to sit down. I'm gonna start looking like Stone Cold Steve Austin here pretty soon.
Episode 24, Manny has knee problems. Manny's chronic knee problems.
Yeah, there you go.
But I just actually finished Terminator
3.
Rise of the Machines.
Which is Terminator 3.
Yeah, and then I need Salvation, which I have, and then Genesis, which I have also. That's a reboot, right?
Yeah, I think they erased
much.
certain portions of the timeline.
And now
'Cause
James Cameron is writing a new one for this.
I think so.
Yeah.
I actually like Salvation. That's the one with Bale, right?
I haven't seen it, so
Okay.
yeah.
I like Genesis. People didn't like
But
it.
You haven't seen Genesis either, though.
No.
Okay, they're both okay. I mean, they're not amazing, but I actually like the Bale movie. It's pretty good. It's very.
On Netflix, I think.
I
Is
have
it on
them.
Netflix?
I got them disc to digital.
Yes.
The reason why that
A
I'm
week
saying
ago.
is in 1 and 2 you see portions of the future, and it's like
Yeah.
a minute, 2 minute.
Okay.
This movie is set, if I remember correctly, in the future, and it's really neat to see that world fleshed out.
Didn't they like CGI like the first one or something, like where you see young Arnold in the?
I think that's
Genesis?
in
No, that's
Salvation.
Genesis. No.
Oh,
Salvation. It's the one where Sarah Connor's young.
Oh, my
I'm
bad.
excited to see him.
I don't want to ruin it for you, but
No,
yeah. No, but actually, I was talking with
You're right.
Zach.
You're right. You're right.
I was talking with Zach on Instagram the other day, and I think I'm going to go after a T800.
No, dude, I need one. Stop.
I'm gonna get one. It's
Like
gonna
your
look beautiful
plane
next to
game.
RoboCop and Michael Myers.
Which one are you gonna get? Because there's the police
I-
shootout. There's
I want the battle
Battle
damage
damage one.
He has like a black jacket and like the khaki pants.
The one that JC
that was my
posted,
grill
right?
from 2019. You remember
I saw
that episode?
I saw,
Yeah,
yes.
that's my grill. So
I'm gonna get one.
No,
JC Hunt posted a
He
picture,
did,
and that's
and that
his
made me
favorite.
want to get it. He
I've
did
been
one.
in the hunt for that guy for
I'm
a
gonna
long
get it
time.
before all y'all. so-
I'm pretty sure you are.
Okay.
Oh.
So now we're gonna start fighting over this Star Wars thing, right?
Drum roll.
yes.
Do we need to start? Do we need to take a quick break?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's. We're gonna pause the
Ooh,
podcast.
This is a crazy podcast.
before we get into this recording. Sorry, I just wanted to save it because we got a good podcast.
How long are we?
And 15 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay.
50.
That's fun.
So I'm gonna cut it so that we don't have this, but
You could just
Yeah, because I want to record this because I want to know how good this is gonna be.
okay,
You
yes.
could, you could just be like, and we're back or whatever, and then just leave that.
This is where commercials will come in.
Back
It's a good idea, actually. Yeah. Okay.
Echo Base Customs.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
How many people do we got listening?
We got, well, I guess one.
One,
Two?
person.
Okay.
Because I guess. Oh no, two because I'm recording. So, what's up, two?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Why is it that
hang on.
you?
Let's focus. Stay on task. Okay.
Stay on target.
Okay, so before we get into our State of Star Wars discussion, we wanted to thank our friends over at Echo Base Customs for sponsoring another episode this week. Cody and the team over there do tremendous work. Check us out on YouTube. We put up a really cool video of their custom showcase. They do clones, they do clone parts, they do horror repaints. And if you're a Collecting Weekly listener and you want to do a full clone custom between now and the end of January, message Cody. His Facebook is Echo Base Customs. We'll put a link in the description of the podcast. Tell him what you want. Tell him you listen to us, and he'll give you 10% off your full clone custom order. So that's full clone custom, not parts, not you don't get 10% off on a camo, but a full custom, you'll get 10% off. And we want to thank him for sponsoring the podcast and helping us improve our setup and our legitimacy by sponsoring the content. Now, the State of Star Wars, I know we had briefly touched on this a few days ago before you knew that you could make it. And I didn't really want to get into it in the group chat because I think we're all good friends. I think it's a discussion to have in person rather than over Messenger. But additionally,
I have my block ready.
right. Additionally, you're very passionate about this, so I think it's better to have you on the show where other people can hear your thoughts on it. So I'll let you take it away, and we might interject occasionally with opinions, but
Sure.
this is your segment.
I
So
will jump on the table.
if you mentioned The Last Jedi.
All right. Well, let me start off by saying that I respect everyone's opinion. If you are a fan of Disney Star Wars and you enjoy those movies, you genuinely enjoy them. All the power to you. Unfortunately, me and what I feel like is a good portion of the community does not. And let me start with the replacing of the expanded universe, or what's commonly known as the EU, was a big deal for me because they wanted to tell their own stories. That was the reason they gave for getting rid of the EU. They want to tell their own story. They want to tell their own stories. But the problem is you're going to get rid of all these grand stories, which I'm about to go dive into here in a minute. But you got to make sure that you create something that is just as good or better. And I feel like they haven't done that. And let me
I would agree with
Hold my weave.
Yeah, I would agree with you there that they haven't created something to that point yet.
Oh shoot, sorry.
But
Sorry.
in some small way, I think when you're a company that buys another company, you have to decide what are we going to take from this existing company and how are we going to reshape this to fit our brand?
sure.
In a way, because there was a point where there was just so many different stories and they were going in all kinds of different directions. And I think maybe at some point Lucasfilm probably said, okay, we're going to dial this back in. This is kind of roughly the official story.
So they had the canon EU, which
Exactly.
was the official canon, and then you got to keep in mind back in like the 80s or whatever, any Tom, Dick, and Harry could write a Star Wars story, and so
that's
none
why
of
we got the
those-
holiday special.
none of those are canon. But the old EU
My
was
favorite
canon, and if you crack open an EU book from back in the day, it would show a spider web of
Yeah,
what
the
was
timeline.
canon and
Yeah.
what was not. And
Yeah, I guess the point that I'm making is, I love, I'm gonna share some of my favorite canon stuff a little bit later in the discussion. And I'm sad that those stories aren't their quote unquote canon any longer, but I don't totally hate the concept of a company wanting to tell their own stories. So that's just my opinion on that, but you were gonna start off with your first talking point.
So my first talking point is kind of a twofer. It is the Jedi origins and the Sith lightsaber crystals and how they pertain to each other. So Disney's version of lightsaber crystals. Let's start off with the EU version. So the EU version of a Sith lightsaber crystal is that they were created synthetically. They were designed to be basically a middle finger to the Jedi.
For the Sith lightsaber.
Yes, for the Sith.
Okay, I was like, because I think the Jedi were a natural crystal.
Yeah, they were a natural form crystal you can find on planets like Ilum, places like that.
sure.
And they had a force resonance so that you could, you were one with your weapon, basically.
Yeah,
because the lightsaber became a symbol of the Jedi Order, and the Sith wanted to take that symbol and just basically give them the middle finger.
Yeah, and in the Clone Wars cartoon, they show the Padawans going into the temple and finding the crystal that resonated with their force.
Exactly, and so what happened with the original Sith crystals is they were synthetically created, and they were designed to do two things. They were designed to fight and cut better, and they were designed to overload the enemy's guard. They had a very small chance of doing this, by the way. It's only recorded like a few times in history. But if they overloaded the enemy's guard, it would literally shatter the crystal, thus breaking you with your weapon. It was, again, a big middle finger. The thing about this is if you look at the Jedi history dating all the way, I'm not even going to bring in the Rakata Force Wars into this and the Jedi, because that is too much for this discussion. But suffice it to say, there was an order that both the Jedi and the Sith split from, called the Jedi, and one side decided to try to commit genocide on the other, and there was a lot of animosity afterwards. Now, how do I put this? Disney decides to say, okay, we're going to take the Sith Crimson Crystal and we're going to tell a new story of how that comes to be. And I have a few problems with it. Number one, according to Disney canon now, a Sith will bend a crystal to its will and make it bleed.
Mhm.
Couple of problems with that.
Have you, before you get into it, have you read that comic?
I've read parts of it, yes. I have not read the whole thing, but my big complaint is, does it have to be red? That's my big thing, because aliens don't bleed just red. So why is it red?
Mm-hmm.
And why is it not just why is it red? And I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought.
No, that's okay. So you're saying that not
They're
aliens
all
bleed red,
blue.
so the fact that they're quote unquote bleeding the crystal.
Exactly. And here's my train of thought again. So when Anakin was on Mustafar, my big thing is you can argue the point that, okay, he was not fully turned to the dark side at that point. He was not completely immersed in the dark side.
Yeah, he still
However,
had his doubts about whether
he was still teetering on the edge at the very least, though, because you've got to keep in mind that he had just finished murdering the separatists. He had choked his wife and tried to murder his best friend.
Sounds like my neighbor.
So wouldn't it be feasible to think that even if he's not directly meditating on the crystal, it would at least be turning a little bit of a shade at that point? I mean, that's my problem, is if you just analyze it with a little bit of logic, it starts falling apart with just the crystals.
Yeah. I guess for me, about the Sith crystals, I don't know how much of the comic. Oh shit! Go off. Hang on. We need to re-record 1 second. Let me see. Me, about the Sith. I noticed that pretty fast. That's pretty
That
good.
was really fast.
Technical difficulties.
Shout out, Damien.
Shout out, you guys.
Guys,
See
if you're in the
Last
comments,
Jedi,
if you're in the
what?
comments, one
Everybody's
love, guys.
sweating in the comments.
One
They had to change their
one love.
underwear.
No, I love it.
Okay.
War.
Okay, so
Damien.
I guess for me, like I don't know how much of the comic that you read But in the Vader comic, he's given a lightsaber, and you see powerful Force visions where he doubts what he's done, and he has a vision where he goes and he kills Palpatine. He has a vision where he goes and finds Obi-Wan, and I don't know, he doesn't really apologize, but he kind of, you can tell that he's a defeated man. And I wouldn't say I love that idea, because I was a big fan of the fact that the crystals were synthetic, the Sith. But being a huge Vader fan, I didn't hate having that extra content for Vader. But I will say it was kind of odd that anytime a Sith needs a lightsaber, they have to find a Jedi, and they have to, corrupt the crystal. And
That's a good one.
let's lighten the mood. Let's lighten the mood with that, where we're gonna have it. So what do you wear it like that or on the top? So that's I guess
that actually looks good.
that's my point on that.
That's-
So
that's
you're not a fan, and I'm somewhat okay with the idea. I know you have a few other talking points, so let's go and hit those.
So Anakin's origin. Okay, now I will freely admit we discussed this a little bit, and I have not read, not versed on the material that explains what happened. But basically, the sum of the point is Palpatine's Anakin's father.
Not logically, but
Yeah, but
let me pull it up real quick. But so in the last comic of the Vader,
He was there.
of the
like-
Vader episode 25,
He stuck his fingers where they shouldn't have.
Yeah, this is actually the comic. Vader goes through this Force vision inside of his castle, which is on Mustafar. And in this vision, he confronts his past growing up as a slave. And his,
so Sith alchemy, basically.
yeah, so essentially it heavily implies that Palpatine was the one who influenced the midichlorians to create Anakin's life. And in a way, I don't love it, because I was kind of hoping it would have been Plagueis' influence of
That's
the
what I was
midichlorians that
afraid
would
of,
have
yeah.
created that counter effect, which would be Anakin. Because you've read the Darth Plagueis novel, right?
Correct. Yeah.
It's
So
an incredible book. If you haven't read it, it's
Shout out,
it's one of those books that could definitely at one point maybe be considered canon again, because it doesn't conflict too much with some of the stories that we get in the actual official
Wow.
canon. But it goes into how Darth Tenebris had attempted to do these things, and then Darth Plagueis attempted to do these things, and of course eventually Palpatine kills Plagueis, and of course, in this comic, we see that he's "quote unquote" Vader's father.
whereas,
But I really wish that it would have been that subtle implication in the book that Plagueis may have been his father. And then if you look at episode 3, there was a hint that maybe Palpatine knew that he was Anakin's father when he gives that look when they're in the opera, and he says, he could even use the midichlorians to create life. But in a way, I definitely agree with you at this point, where I think maybe having Palpatine be his father is a little too neat for me.
Yeah.
I think I would have preferred it if they kept the subtle implication that maybe Plagueis was the one.
And you took the words right out of my mouth there for Plagueis versus Palpatine.
Excellent book,
correctly.
by the way. Excellent book.
Excellent book. So Jedi origins now versus then. Well, not delving into The Last Jedi, but we really don't still know much about Disney's version of the origins of the Jedi. However, we do, if you follow the canon, old EU from the last 10 years, you do know quite a bit about the Jedi origins, dating all the way back to before the Republic and the Rakatan Force Wars. This is kind of one of those subjects for me that it's kind of like wait and see, but I definitely think they have a lot to live up to with the Rakatan Force Wars and the Great Hyperspace War, because that was truly a pivotal point where the Jedi almost tried to eradicate the Sith, commit genocide because of a difference of opinion, and it was really neat to see how they took just two different ideas and made these two groups just hate each other. Like, give me an example. I can never pronounce this, and I'm probably gonna butcher it. So in the comment section, if you hear me butcher this, I apologize. But the Jedi were the original Jedi group that fought the Rakata, Force users that fought the Rakata and the Force Wars.
Mm-hmm.
They believed in balance in the Force. They believed it's very simple. You use the dark side for combat, for a quick gain, for a quick amp, and then you use the light side for balance and meditation and deep thought. And there were some groups after the Rakatan Force Wars, without going too deeply into the story, afterwards the first Jedi Council was formed, and some thought that we need to move away from using the dark side. We need to focus only on the light.
Mhm.
And there was a large group led by this man named Rajabari,
Mhm.
who decided that we can't sacrifice our strength
Uh-huh.
because that was what helped us beat the Rakata. And so we can't sacrifice our strength. We have to fight back, and ultimately it led to this mass civil war in which the Rajabari was killed. His disciples ran away, and ultimately found themselves in Korriban and became the Sith.
Yeah.
And that's summing it up very heavily.
Yeah.
See, and real quick, the beautiful thing is, I mean, it's all that content is still there. Like Disney didn't.
Yeah.
Like you
They,
can,
they did say it
Because-
doesn't exist anymore. It's not canon.
Well, no, it's not there
Like,
anymore,
not-
but you
not-
can still find current printings of a lot of these books where they reprinted them. I think about Legends, so I really appreciate that because for me, I don't want to interrupt you too much here, but oh my gosh, like a tornado outside.
wind.
For me,
God.
I'm really late to a lot of these books, so being able to walk into even like I think I've seen some of the Thrawn trilogy novels at Walmart, but you can just walk in and buy some of these classic books that
Yeah.
you know they're not super expensive on eBay, but you know you can buy a book for $10 versus buying a book for $30. That's you can buy quite a few more books. So I appreciate that Disney has, they still have them available.
Well,
Yeah.
and there's some characters that kind of, in my opinion, are still in kind of a limbo state, like Bane and Revan, because Bane is directly referenced in the Clone Wars, which is still
Pretty
considered
much,
canon.
yeah.
And Bane, the trilogy by the guy who wrote Knights of the Republic, Drew, I can never pronounce his last name. Highly recommend that trilogy, though. The Darth Bane trilogy, Path to Destruction, was the first one.
Mhm.
Probably best trilogy you will ever find in Star Wars as far as novels go. My opinion, anyways.
Yeah.
But Bane is directly referenced, and these books follow Bane and his establishment of the Rule of Two, and ultimately bring characters like Revan into the play.
Uh-huh.
So it becomes kind of like a spider web, because now Revan's canon. Well, now Revan's in 2 games, technically 3. He's mentioned in a 3rd, but he's directly in 2 games. So it really kind of becomes the spider web, and I can see how blanketing out the spider web makes it easier to tell stories. But at the same time, it's not, because you really don't have. You have all these stories that the fans loved, and you're losing a significant portion of it. And I think that's mostly what, at least I'm upset about, is that the stories that are getting replaced, like the Origins of the Jedi, we really haven't seen yet. But some of the stuff, like the crystals, they're not as good in my opinion. They're too convenient. They're too easy.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna move up to the next topic.
Well, did you want to, let's save some of these topics. I feel like we can go on here for a while for the next time you're on the show. Let's talk about,
of course.
just because I know we still have a few more things to talk about, and we're already a little bit over an hour. Maybe you can share some of your favorite books. I don't think you guys read a lot of the Star Wars novels.
I can't read.
Audible is really excellent. This is where I get my books from.
Audible.
I get them physical and Audible, but I very rarely touch the page. Kenobi, the Legends book. It's about Obi-Wan Kenobi's first. I don't know if it's his first year, but it's his time as soon as he lands on Tatooine. Really excellent book. It talks about him, and he has these powers, and people are somewhat starting to notice that he has these unnatural powers. It deals with him and some Tusken Raiders led by their chieftain Ayark. Really amazing book. The Dark Plagueis novel, I know we've talked about it. Probably one of my favorite books.
Another one I can plug in is the Republic Commando series. Hard Contact, I believe, is the first one. Great series of books. Great.
Yeah. I like the new Thrawn novel. There's 2, but I like the first Thrawn novel a little bit better. I think it's just called Thrawn. The Lords of the Sith, which is the novel, it's about Vader and Palpatine. They crash land on this planet after an assassination attempt, and them and 2 royal guards attempt to survive until they're able to get Imperial help. The Revenge of the Sith novelization is really good, and then Rise of Darth Vader. The Revenge of the Sith novel is just so good. I very rarely get moved by the written word, but at the end of this book, there's this one little passage. I'll just read it quickly, and then we'll move on. Also, right there, the Vader and the Lost Command, excellent comic book if you're into Darth Vader. But it says the dark is generous and it is patient.
guy.
Oh shit!
You stop.
Yeah, you jinxed it. You said hate that guy and it ruined it. Let me see where we're at.
Nothing recorded.
Lost Command, excellent comic book if you're into
Delete all the other stuff that it's already.
How do I say that? It's not that.
All right, well, time to record again. Everybody say exactly what you did.
Yeah, well, let me see if I can remember.
All right, let me put
Okay,
this
hang on,
back
hang
on here.
Okay, stand fast.
Stay on track.
And so here's that passage. I'll read it real quick. It's not that long, but it says, "The dark is generous and it is patient and it always wins. But in the heart of its strength lies weakness. One lone candle is enough to hold it back. Love is more than a candle. Love can ignite the stars." And that's at the end of the Revenge of the Sith novelization. So obviously it talks about Padme's funeral and Anakin's first thoughts as
I never
Vader.
realized how small your head is.
My head?
Yeah,
Really? People say I have a huge head all
you
the
have a
time.
tiny head, bro.
It's the camera angle.
Sorry.
But so really good book, lots of excellent content, and did you have another book you wanted to throw in?
Yeah, I had a couple of comic series. If you're not into the whole novel thing, there's a couple of comic series that you could definitely check out. There's the Knights of the Old Republic comic series that follows Zane Carrick before the events of Knights of the Old Republic video game. Very good series. My only gripe with it is they changed up the artist like every single issue, so it just
It's not consistent.
it's not consistent as far as the art goes, but the writing's there. And then of course the Dawn of the Jedi, the Force Wars.
Yeah.
Very good story, very interesting take about stuff like Force sabers, war blades,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. Very interesting.
So last week our question of the week was, what custom figures are you working on? We've talked already what we're working on now, but we had several people answer in. So Anthony Moore shots _ on Instagram, was working on a 6-scale ODST, waiting for 3D parts, but he's futzing up the body, and he won our contest for the ODST helmet. And hopefully this week or next I'll get to slap some paint on that helmet. Vintage Viewport is working on a Peggy Carter. It was actually given to him by that's one of the 6-scale Scavengers crew. It was actually gifted to him by Mila Snyder. She does different head sculpt painting. She's on Facebook. So shout out to both of them. It was a very generous gift. I believe she just gave it to him.
Is she the same one from that gifted D Knight Batman?
I think maybe you're right. I could be wrong.
The name sounds oddly familiar.
I could be wrong. Let's not get hung up on that. But
Okay.
I think you're right. Ian Ashton, shout out to Sudden England. He's working on a Captain Miller from Saving Private Ryan. An amazing film, an amazing figure. That dude customizes like no one else can. He's also working on an Evil Ash and a Darth Vader as well. School_kid_studio is working on Agent Venom, and he's using some 3D printed parts, which is great. 3D printing is actually how 10 DMFG is making my Sebastian Shaw. It's a liquid resin 3D
Wait, what's
printer.
Agent Venom?
Agent Venom, it's a character from the Spider-Verse, not from the Spider-Man comics. You can look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not that familiar with the character, but I know I think it's, I don't know if it's Eddie Brock, but it's just like a different interpretation of Venom in the
Gotcha.
comics. And our question of the week for this week, if you have an answer to the question of the week, email me, Zach at collectingweekly.com. And I actually prefer email because it's easier for me to sort them each week. So Zach at collectingweekly.com, ZACK. Just put question of the week in the title and I will be sure to get to it. It's just, I have people this week and I'm very fortunate to have that, but messaging me on Instagram, Facebook, on my personal account, and then email, it was just a lot to get together. It doesn't seem like it was a lot, but it took me a while to track it down. But my question of the week is, and I'll have you guys answer it here shortly, what is your favorite aspect of collecting? This was actually supposed to be our question last week, but Damien, shout out to Damien, put up the question for the customs. So for me, my favorite aspect of collecting is building the display. I really like to have a clean display, so lighting, cabinet, hiding wires. It's one of my favorite parts to do. And when you can just sit back and see a clean cabinet without all the wires, it's a very rewarding experience. Manny, do you want to tell us what your favorite aspect of collecting is?
Probably the relationships it builds. I wouldn't be talking to you guys if it wasn't for collecting.
Yep. Jesse?
That's a good point. I like that. I was gonna say,
You're gonna be selfish, weren't you?
I was gonna be super selfish and
Getting
say,
free view for Vendetta.
no. I was gonna say
Like
like,
Terminator too.
like,
Oh, yes.
oh, yeah.
You just be getting nothing but free stuff.
Well, I'm giving you some parts,
Yeah.
do some
I get
custom
some
work.
parts, but he gets a whole.
Dean
Hey,
is
well,
getting
I
one
didn't-
day.
I'm not gonna charge him for this. It's all
The
his.
gift keeps on giving.
No.
Later, I'll hook you up one day with something, and Dean, I always give Dean toys, so Dean, you can't complain if you're listening to this. I'm sorry.
No. I was gonna say, there's something about collecting where you feel fulfilled and stuff when you finally get that piece that you've been hunting or saving up for, and it's in your collection. And you can take a step back and like, and you get like, and then you're like, wait, well, what's the next thing? So that feeling of like you feel accomplished, but not really. There's like another thing.
Yeah, because then you're always worried about the next thing and the next thing and the next thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's two-pronged because I collect two. For me, for like Black Series and for basically 112, it's all about the hunt for me. It's all about the hunt for just going out, the feeling you get from walking into a store and being like, oh, I need that for my collection, and just making the satisfied move from purchase to it's just nothing like it. And then for 1/6, it's just the wow factor you get when you first crack open the box.
What's going on in the comments?
I know. I'm so sorry.
What did
I
you
was
do?
trying to read the comments, and Damien, don't
I
hate me,
can't even
accidentally
read the
deleted.
comments.
I don't
It's
know.
getting heated in the
Oh
comments.
my
It was
God.
getting heated, so I was trying to tag
Wow.
the response.
What is going on?
I don't know. I think I actually deleted Damien. No, don't hate me.
Look, real quick. There's some love Jedi, and then there's hate, and it's just.
I'm not going to crack that nut open on this episode. That's easily going to be like
Speaking
an
of
hour.
cracking nuts, I'm just kidding.
Wait, sorry, Damien. I promise I
Wow.
didn't mean to do this. I was trying to tag you like on Facebook where you can click their name and it responds to them.
I think you got to give him some.
You do have to give him something, Damien, if you're watching. If I didn't totally turn you off from this. Wait, what's going on with my Godzilla? Why is his head backwards?
We know who
Turn
did
it.
You
it.
just got the crap smacked out of him. That's why.
Oh my God, Damien, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
But
his eyes are
Damien,
lit up.
we on the last live podcast, which is the official episode, I think it was 22. We were doing a giveaway for this Black Series Kylo Ren that Ammunition gave us, and you were one of many who chimed in, and you, friend, who should be out of quote unquote timeout. I'm so sorry. I promise it was unintentional. I'm trying to watch the waveforms.
I thought like,
Oh
yeah,
my
it's like
God.
I missed it. And I was like trying to watch this, and oh man.
Anyways, we can all like what we like, and nothing is wrong with that. But you, Damien, have won our Kylo Ren Black Series 3.75.
Congrats.
So, a round of applause for Damien here. And
wow.
send me your
Look at the
address.
comments.
Oh,
God! Did I start a flame war?
Oh, I think you did. And of course, Jesse didn't help by saying.
Oh, that was you.
That was me.
I was like, wait, who's
Yeah.
saying this?
So,
Staring at the bot.
we have two more things to talk about. I know we got a little loud there. Damien, I swear it was an
Everybody's
accident.
ear
I'm trying
gonna be
to do like 5 things right now and keeping the show sheet on track. But
At least you haven't butchered a word yet. So.
I'm getting close. So let me know your question of the week answers. But we have some shout outs to give.
Man, your head is small.
It is not. It is actually quite large.
So
I
you have
want
a
to give
really
a shout
big
out
cap. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it is a big hat. It's to Adon Tello on Instagram.
My
he tagged us.
dude.
He tagged us in his story. He used Manny and Jesse's lighting tutorial
Yeah.
to put up lighting in his DTOP. It looks pretty crisp.
Nice,
Yeah, honestly,
yo.
really, really good. Yeah.
the_toy_zealot. Really cool guy on Instagram. Has been showing us a lot of love. All these guys I'm shouting out have been showing us a lot of love. Gabo Fett, GABO_Fett. Carter's Collection 29 gave the podcast a shout out. I think he's a listener. We really appreciate it. I know I mentioned John from Tashi Station earlier. He really great guy. Has really been letting us promote the podcast on. I really appreciate it. It's helping us grow quite a bit. And he also was very supportive of us when we first started, and we really appreciate that. And that's it for the shout outs. And I have to give, of course, 6 Scale Scavengers, Brian and Chris, they always shout us out in all their episodes. So do you guys have any shout outs you want to give? Maybe for Critus in the comment section?
Yeah, shout out for Chris. I can't see any of your comments from here, but I trust you're doing good things. I hope.
Jesse's over here trying to start a flame war in the comments. He said Last Jedi is better than the OT.
Yeah, you guys, come on.
Manny, do you have any shout outs?
Shout out to everybody that's following PIXBYMANNY.
From a really great guy. And it didn't have the glasses. So he's looking for them. It's sunglasses. And if you're someone that has this Bounty Killer glasses and you want to hook Eric up big time, let me know. Send me an email, Zach@collectingweekly.com. We'll see what we can do. We can arrange. And hopefully we can find this part for Eric. I know I could have sworn I had one, and I looked for 2 hours on Sunday and I couldn't find it. And all my parts pins, I have a billion parts pins. But I'm hoping I can find it. But if not, hopefully one of our listeners all across the world can help Eric find this very hard to find part. We also, on our YouTube, we have, I was telling Jesse that, we felt like we made it last week. And I really feel like we made it this week. We have a hater on YouTube. We had someone that disliked,
Shaking haters off.
shaking haters off. I check the stats every night just to see what we're doing and for the content that we're uploading. We had someone dislike all of our videos. And I put it on Instagram and I said for you guys to show the page some love. You guys really did. You came through, subscribed, liked, all that stuff. We really appreciate it. And we want to thank you guys.
I bet you anything the haters listening right now.
Right.
Shout out to you haters.
So maybe if you like this podcast, give this video a thumbs down. Reverse psychology. There goes the Joker thing that Rainer was mentioning earlier.
Thumbs down means thumbs up.
And thank you for all your support.
Boom. He gives us thumbs up.
Yeah. He's like, I love your stuff.
All right, is it time for the last main event? The show?
It is.
Finale.
So, Rainer has a package he's going to open.
No.
Let's be cognizant to speak what's happening because I feel like sometimes we do these unboxings and no one's saying anything and it's dead air.
So now let me move
So
this
you got
so that I
this
can
from
have-
Sideshow Collectibles, right?
Yes.
So real quick, I'll be recording. So this will be up
Turn it like this.
for the
Your
BTS
address is showing.
for on
Your
YouTube?
ass is showing?
Address.
Oh, you see your ass.
I had the address.
Hey, you may want to take this back, by the way.
Oh, that's fine.
So this is Purgatory. I got it with my Sideshow rewards with this little change to spare. So let's see what we got.
So we have Zach here.
Attempting to get into this box.
Man, that knife did nothing to that tape.
I know.
Good tape.
You had
You
to
get
get
out-
out.
You like bounced off the tape.
You had that knife sitting at the table, and I was like, "What is he?"
Sorry, rest in peace. Telephone.
There we go.
Sideshow clearly using top shelf tape.
Oh, hold on. I'm trying to not show your address.
Look
Flip,
at that.
flip it the other way.
Look at that. This is for you.
No.
Oh God, really? Man, it's starting to start a flame war again.
Hold on. I'm gonna hide your address
Oh, what's going on?
from both videos.
Your address is showing.
Oh,
you keep
yeah.
turning the box.
Oh.
Show me it out.
So Zach, tell us about this line. I'll be totally honest, I'm not familiar with it.
Give me 1 second.
Hey, don't worry about that. We're live podcasting on the air right
Oh,
now.
yeah, yeah.
We're not
Gotcha,
going to
gotcha.
be.
Gotcha. So this is the TV League line. So this is Bison. It's supposed to be some kind of comic book character from the 90s. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read it. The figure just jumped out at me. Again, I was watching
Big boobs.
sort of. But I was watching a review of the figure and I said, you know what the heck?
Wait,
You only live
me?
once.
No,
Oh.
Denobi Chu, didn't he get this figure?
I think he
so.
did. That's who it was.
Yeah.
And here she is.
Oh, shit, that's a nice box.
Yeah, and it's more plastic, which means time for Dome Life.
Yeah, man, this looks really cool.
Man, this
So I was
knife
watching
is
this
so-
video.
Man, this wrapping video, are we getting video of this? Jesus.
It's probably honestly the way you cut it. Like,
Yeah, you're not really going. Yeah, I go.
I'm trying not to cut the box. That's
you're
my
not going real
thing.
deep. The way I like it.
Oh god.
Hey, that's what Josie said.
So this is like a demon with wings, I guess. It looks
Yeah,
like-
so
for those on the
basically she
podcast.
was, from what I can tell, she was supposed to be an Egyptian who died and drank this demon's blood, and now she takes vengeance on something or
Now
another.
she
Yeah.
has a.
Let's open that bad boy up.
So, magnetic seal, very fancy.
Wow. No more knives needed.
Yeah, there you go. Stay tuned for when Zach sharpens his knife again. All right, let's take a look.
There's nothing in
Alright,
there.
so
Just
there's a
box.
styrofoam, right?
Yeah,
There's a
here, let me
styrofoam.
show it for the camera. That is some good foam quality packing there. And now it is getting the better of me. There we go.
Ooh, I like
The
that
presentation on that is really nice.
Nice.
Does she have nipples?
Yes, it's a bison, of course. She's anatomical.
That would be Manny's first question. Episode 24, does it have nipples?
There you go. Yeah, I love it.
I actually don't know if we can use nipples in the title, but.
Let's take a look. Things that jump out at me right away. The head sculpt is packed really well.
Oh, that's not
So
what
is
I
the head
thought
on
you
the
were
body
gonna
or is there two
say.
heads? Is there two heads or is the head?
It's just one head. And you got the chalice, the dagger, the armbands, and what appears to be the necklace.
You should make a dark talon out of that.
I'm not gonna lie, that was the first thought when I saw
It's
it. I
funny,
was like, if I don't like
I actually
it
have
here-
the head sculpt in my office. Damien sent it for me to paint. So Damien, if you're listening, I tried to go to my local hobby store this week and it was closed.
There's the head sculpt there.
Put
Oh.
the talon
The eyes look really
head on
nice.
that thing.
Is that what Damien said?
Yeah.
I'll go get it. You guys keep talking and
Anybody want to
Jesse
take a
walks
look
away
at the
from-
eyes on this?
Very nice.
Oh, nice and crisp. Look at that. I like it.
Yeah, it's very cool. So let's take a look at the body here.
There we go.
That's what
Please
everybody
show
wants
the
to see,
nipples.
right?
Um,
I'm not gonna show the nipples on YouTube.
Show it to me.
there you go. Just show it to me. I want to see.
God, can you sound even more weird?
So I wanted to pick up the Lady Death figure, but
Here,
because
let me-
she's all
just so I can
white,
see
I
how it
don't
fits.
trust myself.
Hey!
Everybody's getting a
So that's-
full
it looks like
butt
there's
there.
a ball joint that this would need to be made larger. But
But it doesn't
Here,
look
turn
that
around a
bad.
little bit. No, closer to the camera. Oh my
Uh,
gosh.
You're military.
So Damien, that's what that would look like.
That's what your head looks on that. It's real tiny, your head.
I'm gonna pass this around so everybody can take a look.
Ooh, oh my god, it feels like a fleshlight or something.
You've never owned this bison?
No.
Oh, there,
That's
I'm trying to see your nipples.
Be careful.
there.
Oh yeah.
Pick that up.
here. So I'm gonna go ahead and hold her body, and then from the legs, and I'll put this on the
I'll
neck.
put
This
her
sounds
body
so
wherever you want.
wrong.
Just turn. I
Oh
wanna
yeah.
Get.
Oh my gosh.
Rainer successfully
She
lowers
feels like
the
a
bar.
sex toy.
Yeah. So I have the Arnold Bison body that I use for Bane. It's called I think it's the Bison M34
And it feels like
37.
like-
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
wait,
it's 34.
It comes
There's
with, like, a-
more.
Oh, there's a wings in there?
How big
Yeah,
are
there's
Yeah, it comes
wings.
with a one, an erect one, and a
Really?
soft one. Yeah, dude.
You're not.
No, dude.
Yeah, it comes with erect and different sizes and shapes.
Is it real though? Like, is it real? Like,
Yeah,
Is
like
it
it's,
true
it's
to
a
him?
it's a.
is it
I
Arnold
don't know.
Schwarzenegger?
Well, I don't know if it's Arnold's,
I've never
but
seen Arnold's.
Is it true
penis.
that he has one testicle?
they
How would I know
that? Hey guys, in
Um,
the comments, let them know.
It is just a known rumor.
Let me see if I can get this head sculpt on.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I
he was
would
probably
never
lifting
find-
weights in one burst or something.
Hey Manny, can you hand me that box behind me?
Yeah. This one
I
here?
wouldn't know. But anyways, guys, we're gonna let Rainer continue to unbox this. The computer's struggling here. We're at almost an hour and a half.
Dang!
But thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Dean, we missed you, but if you don't come back, I mean, yeah, right? The show did pretty well.
Who is this
No, I'm
person?
just kidding. We really do miss you. We hope you feel better.
We have your tea here, boy.
Yeah, boy. And do you guys have anything you want to say before we cut this one off?
No, man.
No,
bro.
cut it
It was
off.
a good episode.
All I have to
Really
say is boobs.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you guys on next week's
You
episode.
sued.
Peace. Bye.
Yeah, there you go.
Had to do it.
Editing to do, but that was a good podcast.
That's
a
really
long ass
cutting.
podcast.
No, it does. It's because it's trying to keep up with the waveform that uses memory. Once it hits the computer's RAM limit, it shuts it down so it can recycle.
Oh, okay.
But sometimes, I didn't reset the computer before we did 2 or 3 episodes. I cut off at 9 minutes.
Mm.
It's just it hits an hour, and then after that, it struggles to keep up. I hope you guys like the podcast. Sorry, there's some technical difficulties. Damien, I'm sorry that I've accidentally muted you.
We had more engagement this time around.
I know, it's
Wants to
good.
take a look there.
Yeah, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I like
it felt like a
I-
fleshlight. I don't own one.
But now he's considering getting
No.
one.
I walked into
Whenever-
the only reason I know, I walked into Adam and Eve one time, and there's this porn star. Her name's Christy Mack. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
God.
everybody
Everyone-
knows here.
yeah.
And I touched it, and I was like, I want one of these. I didn't get it, obviously, but
But you want what?
a Christy Mack fleshlight. You know Christy Mack?
No, I know who she is, but
She sells her fleshlight, and I saw it at Adam and Eve. Don't ask me why I
but
was there.
you said you wanted it, you were gonna buy
I
it.
was like, yeah, I bought it right now.
Where's
It's
this?
my unboxing. She
That's
bought it for
that's
me.
my.
She bought it for me. Never mind. I'm just kidding.
Dude, I love the hipster Akbar. Because I saw it, I was like, dude, I gotta take this opportunity. I was like, would Akbar wear his hat like this?
No,
Yeah,
hipster, dude. It worked.
All right, guys. Goodbye.
Yeah, so the cool thing about I like how you lifted her boob. To put the wing in. Yeah. So one of the reasons people like those is because it's seamless.
Yeah.
And
I mean, this
you can pose it like crazy and
my
nothing
Alpha
here.
seamless.
Rips.
Mhm.
Over time,
Is
Yeah,
Over
Thanos
time, you
that?
just got to be careful.
Is that Thanos material?
No, that's rubber.
No,
Like,
Hot Toys uses a different type of material. It's not silicone.
It's like what Thor's arms are.
Yeah,
that.
it's like a rubber.
Hulk's
It's not
made-
rubber. It's like a. I don't know. It's right.
It's almost like a rubber. But Hulk is made of the same thing.
That's that one guy you told me about.
I was like, what the hell are we doing?
But yeah, guys. So.
Oh yeah, Damien, this is yours.
Yeah, Damien, send me your address, and I'll try to get it out this week or next. Probably next week.
Send your address and then we're gonna delete it.
Yeah, when you were saying my address a minute ago with the box, I for some reason I thought like my butt was hanging out. And I'm like, wait, what's going on? Oh.
Yeah, 'cause, like I didn't want it to show up in this video, but then this is gonna go on YouTube too. And then I mean I don't know the quality if they'll see it, but still I don't know if you want.
That's not my address anyways.
There you go.
Dean's. Send flashlights to that address, guys.
Oh. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks
Yeah,
for
good.
watching.
Turn it off.
Bye.
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 That's what I sound like.
I've been in the hunt for that guy for the longest time.